it's Lisa Wilson with the Raw Food Institute. I have a thrilling interview to bring you today. I'm going to be interviewing Rachel Feldman. Now, about a week or two ago, I revealed, I'm sorry, I'm munching on my peppermint bead, which would be gone by now.
Your beadlets.
2 weeks ago, I revealed to you that Rachel is going to be, she's our mystery guest, and she's going to be the one coming to the Raw Food Institute. So we're calling this the January immersion with the Rachel Feldman infused. And it's going to be probably more fun than should be allowed, and we're going to have all this female energy. We're going to be addressing some of our favorite issues, like the gut, and how to have a healthy, super healthy, robust immune system that starts in the gut. And we're going to be talking about female and male hormonal issues and how to balance those naturally. And we're going to be talking about how to bring this to the family. And, you know, Rachel and I talk a lot about, if you're having health issues, where did that start? I mean, it might have started when your mother was pregnant, or when your mother, like mine, couldn't nurse you. And so that gives you all kinds of complications down the road. So I was talking to Rachel before we started the recording, and we said, all right, we're going to make this, we're going to pack this next, we don't even know how long we're going. We're just going to go back and forth, 30 to 60 minutes, somewhere in there, but we're calling it 5, 5, 5, and 5. So we're going to talk about 5 of our favorite mom remedies. We've never done an audio like this before. 5 favorite mom remedies, 5 gentle detox remedies, because Rachel's really good at this. 5 mama nourishing
techniques.
And 5 techniques. And 5 cold and flu remedies, because we are in that season. So I want to introduce Rachel Feldman. Say hi.
Thank you so much. And you know what? The more that you and I talk, and if nobody knows like how much of that kindred spirit connection we felt from like the moment that we met each other online, I am so excited to be coming up to you guys because I do think that what you advocate and what we're talking about even today are just snippets of the importance, some of the important issues and some of the important, like, simple strategies that I've learned, that you've learned, and that are so easy to apply, like, not just for myself, but, you know, for my own family. And if you don't have a family, most of us know little ones that are traveling around with allergies and colds and all this junky junk. So I'm so excited. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And I think you're right. When you and I, we've done a couple interviews, we've never met in person yet. That happens next month. But when we talked, it was immediately like, oh, we get each other. And that's really nice. And I know that happens with a lot of other moms. And here's what I suspect, is that there are moms out there who know that they want to go here, but who don't know where to start. It might be overwhelming. They don't know what to do. They don't know, Rachel, that like you and I talked about how simple it can be. It seems like, that's so daunting. And I think the cool thing about what we learned, you and I, is that you can have a family, you can have a business that you love, you can have balance, and you can have this absolutely amazing life with health. And, you know, we are living in a time when we're assaulted on a daily basis by the air, the food, the water. So we have to, these days, go deeper into advanced techniques. We have to be more mindful of this. So we're going to bring it to you in this interview today with little things that you can do. You can take it to your level, little things, big things, but I don't like to put fluff out there. I don't like to put out, oh, hi, Rachel. You know, we're gonna like get into the heart of it and talk about real, meaningful, transformational things that people can start doing right away.
Well, and you know, you bring up something, and I feel like, okay, where's my stepping stool to like jump up and be like, yeah, let's, you know, say it, because I get fired up about it. Because even when I didn't have kids, it was like, I remember going to the doctor and being told, well, you just have inflammation. And I grew up with digestive issues, food allergies, and times are different. So when I explain to people, I'll be 40. I don't remember anybody having peanut allergies.
Yeah.
So back then, maybe we didn't have to go as deep as we do now, but we kind of have to, because being told, oh, that's normal, your kid just has an ear infection. Oh, or that's normal, you just have hormonal issues as a woman. Or that's just what happens. As you and I know, like, it's not normal. It's what our bodies are doing because they need to get the junk out. And our bodies have to work extra hard these days because what you and I were saying, like, it's every day between stress, the air we breathe, the food, where our bodies are just like, oh my God, immune system, help me, help me. So, totally excited.
Yeah, and I think, we look at autism. It used to be 1 in 10,000. Now it's, I hear two statistics, 1 in 68, 1 in 50. I'm not sure which one is accurate, but still from 1 in 10,000 to that. Cancer, when we started the war on cancer, was 1 in 33. Now we're 1 in 2. I mean, I think we have to pause and say, how are we doing? And as a nation, we're not pausing. We're not asking these questions. So we the moms.
Well, and also I love what you said. And I feel like we're going to do this the whole interview, but it's like being an advocate for yourself. Like, yes, you and I are moms, but we believe, and I start to get chills, I believe that we change the world by empowering the little ones. So whether you're a mom or whether you just are like, I want this world to change, we have to change and educate each other and get empowered. And I think that, when you start to learn how easy some of these things can be and where to start, all of a sudden you realize, oh, wow, I can really, I can change that around. So these statistics, and I can start asking myself, what's at the root of this? What is really going on? Why am I having these issues? Start to be your best advocate and ask yourself these questions.
And I think you feel the way I do. I feel like my kids are going to be fine. My kids are in robust health. Their little bodies are in amazing shape. They eat the best food. They don't have any cavities. I mean, a kid's 10, 12, and 14 with 0 cavities among them. It's unheard of these days. And my kids are going to be fine. So, but you and I, we care about the world. And in fact, there was somebody who's been through the Raw Food Institute. She's worked with me, and I know she's working with you. And I saw her in D.C., and she asked me, what do you think of Rachel Feldman? And my answer was, Rachel I love her energy. She's authentic. She's the real deal. So that's why we have you here, because you're the real deal. And you and I have this crazy belief that we can change the world. So let's do it, shall we?
Yeah, it's not so crazy. Look, I always say it's the domino effect. You change one domino, and then all of a sudden, boom, 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 everything changes. So yes, let's rock and roll. 5, 5, 5, 5.
5, 5, 5, 5. Okay. 5. Okay. So your child comes home and has a sore throat or a little cough or a little this or a little that. What's the first thing you do?
Well, let me even back up, because I think even with ourselves, we never listen to the warning, the smoke. We never see the smoke signals. We don't look for the signs. So the minute that even before the cough, the minute I see a little bags under the eyes, a little whining and crying, and for an adult, it would be moodiness, tightness, a headache. I know something's coming on, something's whipping in. But if I see my child walk in and something's a little off, boom, coconut oil right in the mouth. It's because it's antiviral, antibacterial, antiparasitic. And in this world, we have to be combating all of that junk that, we go to the market, we touch something, our kids are at school, they're putting their hands in their mouth, they're playing. So coconut oil right into the mouth, and I will even do that a few times. And if your kid says, coconut, put a little cinnamon, put a little honey, but right in the mouth is good. So
just for people who are listening, Rachel and I decided we would get at least 5 items in every category out. And
am I doing all 5?
No. Well, yeah. If our items are the same,
okay.
And then they're the same, and maybe you'll have our 3 will overlap or whatever. But anyway, we're gonna get at least 5, maybe 20, maybe 125. Who knows?
So kid comes home and I see the funk. I mean, that's what we call it in the house. I have a 5 and 7-year-old. I call it the funk has hit us. So defunk the house. Coconut oil. Then I go right in for the raw honey that we have local, because I know that's going to help boost the immune system, because locally here in Florida, I know that it's come from whatever in our local area to combat the funk.
Okay.
If I feel like it's a little funky, I will go for the next level honey, little pricier, but definitely worth it, called Manuka honey. And there are a lot of different Manuka honeys out there, but same thing. Kids open up, and I put it right into the mouth. My other one does not like it right into her mouth, so I will sneak it into something. I would say the next one that goes right away is I open up the refrigerator, and there's always coconut water kefir. And kefir is a cultured, either coconut water. Some people see it in milk. Some people see it in coconut milk, dairy-free options. But kefir has 12 strains of good bacteria. That good bacteria is going to help to defunk the funk. And then I look at hydration. So, usually when our immune systems are kind of down, off, we're dehydrated, we may have, our kids may have had a stressful day. They may have, been combating viral stuff. And when I see my own kids, the minute that I see them fighting off something, their bodies tend to get a little dried out. So I will make like a homemade, or, very simple. I will take water, some lemon, put in honey. You could put in agave. You could put in stevia, whatever sweetener you want. Get them flushing with that vitamin C. Sometimes we squeeze orange in there. But get them hydrated so that they're peeing out the junk. Mm-hmm. And those are simple ones that if I see them come home right away, then of course I have essential oils, and I do have a boatload of a huge cabinet with other stuff. But these are ones that I tell people, like, they should be in your cabinet. Even vitamin C, I know Highlands makes like a chewable, almost like a melt away. So vitamin C goes right into their mouth. And these are just things that I do the moment that I see them, without having to take them anywhere else except just even the kitchen.
Was that your kids I hear?
Yeah. Probably doing tag team wrestling.
Mine are pretty quiet right now. Thank you. Those are all fantastic and amazing. I think it's a funny thing, and I'm sure your kids are the same way too. Again, mine are a little older, 10, 12, and 14. It's almost, they don't even almost tell me anymore. They just go to the kitchen and start whipping up concoctions that they know. So, the very first one, of course, if they have a sore throat, sea salt and water. I'll be, why are you gargling? Oh, I had a sore throat or a little cough, and that is one of the first things they go to. They know to start gargling the salt, because if there's some germs in the back of the throat, those little salt molecules, again, antimicrobial, antibacterial, just kind of bust that stuff up. So that's one that my kids definitely go to. The lemon and the honey drink. Should I go there? I'm going to work, cold and flu. I can't go there yet. Or should I?
I mean, I think they overlap, because the thing is, like, we're down in hot weather. So maybe up north would be a cold. And this is what I think is so great about this talk, is that even if you're in cold weather or warm, you still deal with viruses, bacteria, colds. But any of the things we just talked about, or that you're about to, they all have the same medicinal properties. They're all going after the junk that's invading the body.
Right. I will. I'll go for cold and flu. I'll throw one of the cold and flus in here because I think it overlaps. And that's my remedy for cold and flu. And I haven't really, my kids, now that they're older, they'll do it. But I take 1 clove of garlic and twice that amount of ginger, 1 cup of water, and I blend that in the Vitamix. Mm-hmm. And one of my videographers was sick, and I sent it to him. I said, do this right away. And he wrote back saying, are you trying to kill me? It's intense, and you have to know some of the stuff is really intense. But, when you have it's hot now, and when all of that goes up into the nasal cavity, it is really intense. But my kids, in the interest of getting better, will actually do that drink now. But if they won't, then you can do the ginger, the lemon, and the honey, and all kids will do that one for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I always tell people, like I'm looking at this, coconut oil, manuka honey, coconut water, kefir, even the one that I see at the market, like Good Belly. I tell people, these are things that you could go, it's not even Whole Foods. I mean, you could buy it on Amazon, maybe except for coconut water, kefir, or, or a cultured food. These are things that should just be in your cabinet. This is almost like your toolkit for, I don't want myself to get sick. I don't want my kid to get sick. I'm taking vitamin C. It's going to naturally go in and cool the body off. So if you start to see that heat up because a sickness is coming on, you think maybe a fever, which is not a bad thing. It's actually the body fighting off. Then great, vitamin C is going to go in there. So any form of berries and fruits, and we're taking vitamin C, it's like home run.
Right. Fantastic. I think we got 5 or 7 or 8, something around there. All right. Now this is something that you're really good at, and it's funny because as we find our way through the health, we do different things at different times. And I've heard you talk twice now about castor packs. So it's going to be funny when you're here because we'll probably be walking around the Raw Food Institute doing castor oil packs together because I've never done one. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do castor oil packs.
So, and I'll even talk about this. Like, I was that person when I was younger, that I was a competitive swimmer, looked great, always looked healthy, even throughout my adulthood, except, maybe I could look in the mirror and be like, oh God, bags, not looking so good. But I was a hot mess inside. I had allergies, digestive issues, hormonal issues. I mean, you name it, I had it. And I finally got to this place where detoxification became a sacred place for me because I realized it's just about the trash can being full. So what if you're daily emptying the trash? And I would take my babies, even when they were little, to the acupuncturist. They didn't do needles. They did gua sha, which is this practice of moving the chi in the body and the energy. And you almost start to see a little red come up on the skin. And so I would be taught, by other practitioners, ways to keep that chi going in a small baby's body. And it's the same thing as an adult. So one of the things that I always talk about with the daily detox is everyone says to me, do you really do this stuff? Like, how do you drink all these things? And I'm like, look, I keep it really simple. I make sure I have lemon water in the morning with a little raw apple cider vinegar and the juice of 2 lemons with a dash of sea salt. Depending how I'm feeling, a little cayenne or a little turmeric. Sometimes I crave cinnamon. I listen to my body. But then with myself or my kids, one with kids, Epsom salt baths. I mean, we even talked about like those. We are so deficient in magnesium these days. We need sulfur to detoxify. So if you see your kid a little sick, or if you don't want your kid to get sick or go to the doctor and have to pay a copay, which is not fun anyway, put them in an Epsom salt bath. It's going to relax them. And so, I would say my kids probably take a bath, 4 times a week that have Epsom salts. Skin brushing is something that you and I have talked about, keeping a skin brush. And it's not like, oh, I saw that you have to do it for 20 minutes. Let's ditch the have to, because it's about just saying, I've turned the shower on. I'm skin brushing up towards my heart. I'm, skin brushing my stomach. Oh, the water's hot because I've just done a 9-minute I'm about to do a 9-minute mother shower. Great, because you can reduce toxins by a quarter. So you can skin brush in the morning, skin brush at night. And I do it on my kids. So I've actually taught them to skin brush, but before that, I would take a soft towel, not a skin brush, and I would just almost like massage in round circles towards their heart, brushing away the toxins because our skin is our 3rd kidney. We need the pores to be wide open, to be letting out the junk. That's why we want our kids to sweat. Sweat daily, exercise, let them jump on the bed. Let them be crazy. You hear my kids probably wrestling, doing tag team wrestling. Let them sweat. The best thing for daily detox. And then the castor oil pack. I don't do this with the kids, but I will put castor oil right on my whole abdomen. You could even do this on your thighs. Castor oil has been used for centuries to pull toxins out of the body. So I like to put it right in the middle section. Sometimes throw some oils on, sometimes not. And then I saran wrap with BPA-free saran wrap. If you're worried about the plastic, and trust me, sometimes I feel like we should live in a bubble. You could put a little towel and then saran yourself. And you can literally be walking around. I was laughing that I had one on for 3 hours the other day while I was taking care of the kids. So I do those probably, I would say, about 3 times a week. But the daily things like drinking the elixir in the morning, skin brushing before I'm in the shower, oil pulling. If I don't have time to do it for 20 minutes, I won't. I will shove, the coconut oil in my mouth, maybe chew on a clove, or if I have clove oil, great. And if I don't, wonderful. I swish, spit in the trash can, and jump in the shower as I'm skin brushing.
Yep, I hear you.
Making it simplified, because that to me is the daily detox. That to me is about, kind of going back to the cold, like making sure that my kids have either lemonade or like a homemade apple juice even. That malic acid getting through their body, or even some cranberry, concentrate in a little water, getting that malic acid to go through their little cute livers and flush out just waste. All simple things that can prevent the sickness.
Fantastic. Difficult to add to that. Gentle detox. Let's talk a little bit. I agree with you, totally with you with the skin brushing. We're going to do oil packs together. That'll be fun. The reason I never did it is because it sounded so messy. I was like,
it does. When I read the instructions, I actually was telling my client, he is one of my favorite clients. He's real busy, top salesman, and he's like, wait, you want me to do what? And I said, dude, listen, I want you to go home when you're chilling like a villain on the couch at night after your hard day, and you're watching, whatever, Ray Donovan, whatever you're watching, and you're going to put this on your belly so that we get your liver and your gallbladder to flush out the junk. And he was like, do I have to lay a towel down, a trash bag? And I was like, no, you could lay a towel down if you so desire. He's like, it's really not going to get on the couch. And I was like, no, I've left my home, gone to the market and won. He was like, are you dead serious? I said, I swear. And so that's what I tell people. Like, it doesn't have to be so like, this is so messy. I have to take 4 hours out of my life to do this. No. Castor oil while you're talking to the kids or whoever. Rub it in and then wrap yourself. And my daughter, who's 5, was like, what are you wrapping yourself with? I said, because I'm doing a castor oil pack. She was like, oh, okay.
Love it. Okay. Yeah, with you with the skin brush while the shower is warming, little essential oil skin brush. Let's talk about water. What water are you drinking?
What water? We actually have a whole system on our house. So I do have, I think it's a Blue Rhino system on our house that takes away everything and adds in like 4 minerals. But I make sure that I add in sea salt to all my water because I feel like so many of my own adrenal and thyroid issues happened because I drank bottled water. I was like slugging bottled water in this plastic for the longest time.
Yeah. Great. And we drink spring water here. I go collect it. You'll drink it when you're at the retreat. I go collect it from the side of the mountain, and it's filtered by the earth, which, for the first time, probably when you're drinking it, you aren't drinking chlorinated. Well, you're getting it all out because you have the whole house system, which I have the shower filters and stuff. so we're not getting it that way, but then we're drinking the filtered water. But really important point to make, because if people are saying, oh, that's something I can do, I can take the salt bath, but they're still bathing in the chlorine, they're actually absorbing it right through their skin, right?
Yeah, I mean, I actually had this conversation just yesterday, and you bring up a great point. Like, a mom sat there and was like, with her younger child, and said, we've taken gluten out, but we're still having reactions. And I said, anything you touch takes 30 seconds to hit your bloodstream. So we eat this organic food, or we're going and buying, nitrate-free, whatever, or organic, vegetables, but we're putting on lotions, or we're bathing in chlorine, which actually inhibits the thyroid because of the bromine. So that's why for my pool, we have a saltwater pool, because I was scared to, and I swam in chlorinated water for the longest time. But I always say to people, if you can save up, like if you take $1 a day, and I try to break it down for people, like don't go to Starbucks, or don't get the pedicure that you're going to get that week, or don't spend extra on something that is a luxury in your home or for your life, and you take $1 a day and put that towards your water system that you can get right on under the faucet, and you change like one simple thing and hope, or maybe spend the money, because our water system lasts like 3 years. They're so nice. There are very simple changes that sometimes you don't even realize are truly affecting the quality of your life and your health.
Right. Fantastic. Do you use far infrared technologies?
Yes. We used to have, up north, we had actually one in the house. We had a sauna, but now I actually just have a little lamp until I figure out what room to pull something out of. But I think anything. I think any kind of technique that you can do as far as far infrared. Salt, down here we have something called the salt suite, which if you can find a place that has salts that are, going into your lungs and kind of regenerating, or people use biomats, or, everyone's got their favorite kind of thing, or chi machines, or, different waves that you put on, on your body and kind of zap. But for me, what I try to explain to people is you can go as deep, and I love what you said earlier, you can really go pretty deep. You could have, revamp your entire house, take the paint off the walls. Literally, you can go as far as you need to, and for a lot of people, you have to. A lot of us are very sick, and we don't even know it. We think, I'm not sick, I just have diabetes. Well, you've got an autoimmune. Right. So, sometimes we do have to go a little further. And for others, we can keep it pretty simple, like what we were talking about, and just stay really healthy and stay out of the doctor's office, not only just in the winter, in any other season.
Right. And I think the cool thing is that what we're sharing tonight is you can go, wading, or you can go swimming. And you and I go swimming for sure. And because we love it. I would rather wear recycled clothes, live in a smaller house, downsize everything except for when it comes to food and health. It won't happen. We will eat the best foods. And, I have a home spa in my basement. I have the chi machine. I have the soaky bed. And I have it for a lot of reasons. A lot of the clients use it when they come through the Raw Food Institute, and you'll use it too when you're there. And it's amazing. It's amazing for stimulating your body's own production of nitric oxide. It's amazing for even cancerous tumors have water molecules, fungus and heavy metals and many other things. Mm-hmm. But it'll vibrate the water molecules and help break up tumors very fast. You just mentioned the vibration. I've been doing biontology for the last few weeks, and I think it's my thing that I'm excited most about today. I've been sending people there left and right. It's been phenomenal for people with blood cancers, leukemias. I'm just going for hormonal balancing, trying to sleep better.
2 years ago, my parents laughed at me because they said, "It's your birthday. What do you want?" I was like, "I would like a zapper." And they were like, "Wait, you want a what?" And I said, "I want a zapper because this is a natural way that you can use vibration to just kill off junk. And so the kids get zapped for very little. The dog even gets zapped.
Yeah.
And I think what I want people to hear even from this is that it can be really simple. There are people that this may be like, what is coconut oil? What is this raw apple cider vinegar? What are they talking about? But you only go into a place of power when you start being an advocate. And I think of, my own health. It's like I went down this road because I kept being told that, that things were just acceptable, or that, being, having digestive issues were just fine. And so I think if you want to open up that door, there's so much information. And especially even coming to school with you for the immersion program, I mean, that's a way to understand how can you really bring this into your life? How can this fit in not just with your life, but people you love, people you really care about, who don't want to just walk around feeling tired. That's, for me, it's really that. It's that simple. I don't want to wake up moody, yell at my kids, and have crappy sleep. I don't, and so this is what I do.
And feel lousy. I mean, I look at some people with bags under their eyes and carrying several hundred extra pounds, and I just, my heart breaks because I'm thinking, how do you feel? Because I can notice every little, and I just, the rest of the population, as we know, is generally sick. But I go into these advanced techniques because it's fun. Mm-hmm. I started in this really as a holistic cancer researcher saying, wow, people can reverse their cancer. They can get to this place of normalcy. But then you get to this place of normalcy and you're like, well, how can I put on a superpower cape? Where can I go if I put that cape on? And then concepts, and I hope you can relate to this. I know you can. That you once, like maybe you heard this 10, 20, 30 years ago, you heard some concept on any topic and you thought, that's crazy. Whoever that person is crazy.
Right.
But then you start eating better, becoming more clearer, and your mind is pried open a little bit. And that thing that you heard about, you might hear about it again and think, wow, maybe they're onto something. And so concepts that once your mind was completely closed to, your mind is pried open and open to because you're just clearer. Have you had that experience?
Well, and I think you really nailed it. I mean, I know the people that I work with, I'm sure the people that you work with, most people, I'll say, did this food work well for you? And they're like, I don't even know what that feels like. I just know I don't feel good. I don't know, I'm not in tune to what feels good because it just feels like this. So once you start doing these extra things where you completely get geeked out in your life and you realize that there is this other level of vibration that you can be at, you don't want to be at another place. And that's why when I think about, educating people to say, like, look, if this food has all these ingredients that you have to Wikipedia it, you're not going to detoxify them. So detox isn't this curse word. It just really means, is your liver going to break it down and are you going to excrete it? Or is it going to cause you a heck of a lot of pain in your body and lead to some other disease state?
Right.
So
fantastic.
That's what we're talking about, is not being in a disease state because we want to feel good.
Yeah. Okay, next topic. Well, no, I'm going to save the mama topic for last. Let's go to cold and flu. What are your favorite preventions? So how do you build robust immunity? And then how do you deal with it once you have it? And we talked a little bit about this, but let's go further.
So I definitely am a probiotic person. Everyone's got their different, whether they believe in probiotics, whether they believe in not giving probiotics. I definitely have always given probiotics to my kids. I definitely have always sneaked in cultured vegetables. They're a little tangy, but I will sneak in like a little juice to whatever I'm making with them because that cultured food, rich with different strains of live bacteria, is going to go right into the gut, which is 80% of your immune system is in your gut. 95% of your serotonin is manufactured in your gut. So for us, having probiotics on board, very important.
Yep.
For us, cultured foods, I would say probably the most popular in our house that gets drank constantly is either kombucha, which they've drank since they were babies, or coconut water kefir. Then I would say the next, which is cold, and I look at this as prevention, is to have sea vegetables from birth. They don't know this. Is that I thought I would have those kids that would be eating seaweed at birth, but that was not the case. From birth, I've just sprinkled kelp, dulse, sea vegetables into their food, mixed it in, and I feel like that's preventive care 100%. And I would say cold, when that stuff comes in and I start to see it a little worse, I do reach for some of the other big hitters that I feel comfortable with my own kids. And that might be like colloidal silver, different range of essential oils. And I always tell people, like, you have to know your own children. You have to know your own self, because you don't want to just give things to kids, even though spiking fevers after you see them, take something is not a bad thing. But I know my own kids, and I know what can prevent. So I would say those are the big things that I do. And if I see something like we had 104 temperature and it was gone in 24 hours, both my kids, because same things that we talked about earlier. Sea vegetables, hydration, coconut water, probiotics, manuka honey. It almost goes back to the same principles, Epsom salt baths. It's like it goes. That's what I love about how you can really take this to the next level, but at the same time, you're working off of the same foundational principles. What's at the root of it? Why has this gotten into their system? What do I need to strengthen? And I often will make nettle tea, some kind of drink, or chamomile or peppermint, and add it into their drink. And again, my kids are young; they're 5 and 7, so this has been a lot of sneaking. And I also get their body alkaline, and alkaline means more oxygen. So I add chlorophyll to drinks, which I've done their whole life. They always ask me why things were green. And I will squeeze lemon everywhere as much as possible. So I would say, yes, maybe that's about 20. But that seems to be oh my God, the funk just walked in the door. The kids look a little gray. What's going to happen? Nobody's getting sick. Mama can't handle it.
Right. Fantastic. Yeah, I kind of ditto all of those. I do, my son used to get a cough every year, and we would put a little food-grade hydrogen peroxide in the humidifier to pipe that into the air. And, of course, like you, I like piping essential oils into the air, diffusing them into the air, because, in studies, they kill about 90% of the airborne bacteria. So we're going to go into this, I think, because it's important. We really talk about essential oils a lot at the Raw Foods, too, because it is really advanced techniques. I do chlorine dioxide in very small amounts. Again, I don't recommend it because you really need to know what you're doing.
Right.
You need to know your child. I'm talking like 1 drop with a bunch of water. So the salts, the baking soda can be very useful. The apple cider vinegar. And when I'm saying these, it's not like I'm doing all of this, ever.
Right. I mean, that's what I just said to someone yesterday. She was like, wait, do you mean do all this? I said, the body is miraculous, especially when you're doing this when a child is young. There's no stagnation in the brain of I can't get better, or I'm sick. I'm so sick. Their bodies are so ready, and I think when we actually jump into that power as adults, we get rid. I mean, I will be like, I am not getting sick. There is no way, and we will get rid of a sickness. But yes, the hydrogen peroxide, grapefruit seed extract. I mean, things that you can use with a baby as little as 2 weeks old for thrush. I mean, these were things that I've always done, but know your child and know yourself.
Yeah.
Because detoxification, as simple as it can be, stirs up what is at the root of the problem. And
Right.
sometimes you're stirring up things. Why did that lung always get a little weak around that time? So it's knowing your child. That's why I love the skin brushing, or a towel with a little one. It's the massage. It's the lymphatic system. I mean, really, it's your lymphatic system. The reason why when we have a cold and we have swollen lymph nodes, it's the lymphatic system going, can't handle it anymore because I'm your sewage system. So now I'm going to swell. So if you're doing Epsom salt baths, castor oil packs for yourself, or skin brushing, you're working on the lymphatic system. The reason you massage a child to get poop going when they're a baby is they're not moving. So they're not getting their lymphatic system, which is why I don't even think we said it. Like, I have a rebounder. I get my kids and myself, even if it's 4 minutes, on that rebounder.
Yep.
Because you're jumping out the junk.
Yeah. And I don't think people, and even me, I'm guilty of this, of leaving my rebounder alone for a few weeks and then being like, duh.
Wait, so do I. And then I look at it, I'm like, smack. So I have this cute little thing that I've now done because, you know, the best of us forget. We get really busy. So in my bathroom, I now have, did you pull? Did you scrape your tongue?
Yeah.
Did you brush? I have like 4 things. And then in my kitchen, it says another thing. And then in my office, you know, when I'm working a lot and sitting, boom, that rebounder's in there. Because it's just the little things so that by the time night comes, we're not all sluggish and farting and acid reflux and feeling all crappy. That's why we do these little things.
I love that tip right there, that you said you keep a list in the bathroom. Because if I don't keep a list of suggestions to add to my water during the day, like I have this pitcher already made of MSM, which is different from MMS, but MSM water, the sulfur water, which I'll drink 4 ounces a day. And I like to drink the clay, and I like to drink the morning warm water with lemon, 1 drop of lemon, and cayenne, like you.
Right.
But I'll sort of just grab a glass of water if I'm not being mindful of, oh, you know what, I haven't had any clay. And I don't do clay all the time. Maybe I'll do it for a week or 10 days every morning, and then I'm done for 6 months.
But, like, I think the thing that I love that we keep going back to is, like, this is your toolbox.
Yeah.
This is, like, when we're talking about clay, and it's funny, we had a guest come the other day, and he was like, Rach, do you have clay? Like, when I first met you, I've known this friend for 12 years, and I was like, dude, of course. And I opened up, and there was my huge thing of clay, and I was laughing. I was like, can you believe that I've had, you know, I always have clay. I always have camu, vitamin C. Like, I always have these different things in my house because I know if I start to feel off, if I start to feel a cold coming on, I don't want to get to the point that I'm sick. So it's the reminders, like, and you know, with myself, if I feel like either the hormones are off and some of us get those not so nice things we don't feel like talking about, I make sure, like, okay, got to take some grapefruit seed extract or a little hydrogen peroxide or a little, you know, we have our things that we start to learn that we can do for ourselves so that we bring ourselves out of the ditch. Right.
And, you know, it reminds me when my kids were, well, my husband's a pilot, so he's gone. So sometimes days at a time. And when they were 1 and 3 and he was gone, and we were living in Wisconsin, it would be like 150 below. And it was hard to think of taking my 1 and 3-year-old if they got sick out to go shopping for cold flu medicine, which is how I would have handled it. So I'd go to the drugstore early in the season and I would buy all of this like Tylenol and like cold and flu medicine just in case.
Yeah.
So I would never touch that stuff anymore. And in fact, you talked about a fever. I celebrate the fever because that's the body's natural way of just getting rid of it. Of course, we want to monitor how high it gets, but I still do that. I don't go to the drugstore, but what I do is I stock up with my essential oils and my MSM and my MMS and my, you know,
your stuff.
my stuff.
Your stuff.
So let's talk a little bit about the oils and which ones you use right away if something's coming on.
Well, I also call them like the daily, like, and I call it the swipe. Like last night, the babies, I call them babies. I think my son will probably be like, Mom, I'm not a baby. But they lie down on the ground. I had, forgot about this. Magnesium oil goes right on the bottom of the feet with coconut oil. Rub it on.
Yep.
Then they both are little, heated, kind of like me, personality, a little fiery. So they get some lemon, great, moves the liver, cools them off for a nice sleep. And then I put like a little frankincense. They always get On Guard, which is from doTERRA. And they will always get another one to kind of calm them. And it seems to be that balance works really well. I love citrus. I feel like citrus blends of any essential oils. And the moment, especially before a full moon, or if I start to see a lot of crying, a lot of, like gray looking face, which a child or even an adult will get, I will come out with clove, I'll come out with oregano, and that will be put on the bottom of their feet, and I'll put in a little coconut oil. So I would say daily, though, they get On Guard, they get lemon, they get one to calm and balance themselves, and they do get Roman chamomile, and, every once in a while, a little helichrysum.
Nice. And I bring that up, especially for people watching who aren't familiar with the oils, because I really feel like the oils are so concentrated that, I'm teaching raw foods, and we teach the juices and the sprouts and the grasses and the, how to properly combine your meals. But then we take it to advanced techniques, and they're the superfoods and the grasses and the sprouts, but also the essential oils, because you can go, Tufts University study up to 1 million on the ORAC scale with the clove. So they're ridiculously powerful, and yet as mamas, this is the best thing, the most powerful thing I think we have in our medicine cabinet. And frankincense, for example, can heal an unhealthy cell and encourage the death of an unhealthy cell or heal a cell. So I personally take frankincense a couple drops a day under the tongue. On Guard is always everywhere.
Everywhere. It's
It's
in diffusers with lavender in every room.
Yeah.
But, the other thing that I think is a great point, and I've never liked antibiotics because I don't even think they work. I think they're necessary at times when, and I was just talking to an acupuncturist today because I went to go get cupped. I felt like some junk was hiding in my back. And we were talking about this, like there's a time and place for everything. Like holistic and integrative medicine is hoping that everyone comes together and fights this fight, and we don't just shove, you need this medicine, bye. You need an antibiotic. Your kid has an ear infection. The thing with oils, and the reason that I brought them into my life, I birthed with oils, but really started bringing them in, is that my son did get sick with, he always would get lung stuff, and he ended up getting pneumonia. And I thought, here I am, this health coach. And my kid eats so healthy. He's actually one of my cleanest eaters, even beyond myself. I swear, he's so clean. And I thought, what is going on? It's that cellular threat. So antibiotics are not going to break the cellular wall of getting into the junk. So when you think about essential oils, you're going in the most ancient and beautiful way to not only physically shift you, but emotionally shift. And I say emotionally because even as little ones, we can have fear about, going to kindergarten, or we can have fears as we're about to take the SATs. And those fears disturb the very beauty and that garden that should be in your digestive system, so bountiful with this good bacteria thriving. It disrupts that, and all of a sudden the immune system gets a little weakened. So that's why I say, yes, in the winter, are we more prone? But, our systems can get weakened even in the summer. You see a lot of those late summer sicknesses. So I think what you said about essential oils is just, they're so beautiful because they work on every antiviral, bacterial, supportive, regenerative level that we possibly could so desire.
Right. And the cool thing, just to give people a visual, again, who aren't familiar, I know you've seen this one where they take the styrofoam cup, put 1 drop of lemon oil, and it literally eats a hole in this. And if people understand, for the last 20 years, I'm guilty too. I don't do it anymore, but I used to drink out of those plastic bottles. And our cells have petrochemicals in them. And this can help break down the petrochemicals and escort them out of your body. I mean, it's really miraculous what it can do. My daughter and I were traveling through California, and she had a big wart on the bottom of her foot. She's a gymnast. And I said, I'm going to do the eggplant cure. I had this formula when I get home, but for now, put some essential oils. And 2 or 3 days later, it was completely gone and healed. And, there was, for the first time I used them, every winter I had to have antibiotics. And the first time I used them, I healed my sinus infection with oregano leaf oil, of course, in a carrier oil. But I think you and I could probably carry on for another hour about that, so we won't.
Well, I think what's so cool, honestly, is you and I get so excited about the fact that, we've talked about this when we first met. It's taking your power back. Like, I know my son had 9 ear infections when he was little. We fought off everyone between going to a Chinese herbalist. Everything, homeopathy. I took my kids wherever I could take my son to not have to take an antibiotic that I knew would just wipe out the good bacteria. So I think when you and I are talking, we just get excited about telling people there's another option. And it doesn't mean that you have to totally give up your life.
Yeah.
There's 5 simple things, like we were saying. Even if you integrated lemon water today, tonight,
right,
tomorrow morning, and brought it into the whole family and had a huge pitcher with berries sitting in there in the refrigerator and everyone's drinking it, home run. Thank you.
Right. That's right. Just one thing.
Just one, but if you do 15, rock it out.
Yeah, and I'm so happy you said that, because I remember when my son was 1, getting off the airplane in South Dakota. It was Christmas, so I couldn't stay. I had to go. But before we left, he had double pink eye, double ear infection. And I put this baby on a plane, got off the plane, went directly to the emergency room, got the antibiotics, went directly to the health store, sat him like a vigil all night long and watched him holding the antibiotics, knowing I would give it to him if he turned to the worst, but had tea bags on his eyes and colloidal silver in his ears.
Right.
And he was better the next day. Every 12 hours he's a little bit better, and 3-4 days later he was completely himself. But what happens when we do that is we now have given our tools to be able to fight that off. We have created robust immunity, opposed to letting something else step in and do it. And now you have taken immunity and decreased it every time you do that.
Right. I always, that's why people say, why the good bacteria? Why the coconut water kefir? Why are you drinking this, making it? And I'm like, it's just about boosting your immune. It really, for anybody, we all have disease cells. We all have cancer cells within us.
Yeah.
So it's waking up and being like, wow, here's some different cool stuff I can do. And I can take baby steps and add one thing. And listen to what Lisa and Rachel said and rewind it and stop it and maybe try out another thing. So it's just simplifying so you don't get sick, or so that the people you love don't get sick.
Beautiful. All right, we have one more, and we're going to cover the 5 mama things that you do to nourish yourself. So what do you do to have it all? How do you pause? How do you take time? What are things that you do to spoil yourself silly?
I'm like, should my husband come in here and actually say this is the area that I always admit to people, I love my work so much that this is probably the area. And I loved everything, every job I actually have always done, but this even more. So I think taking the mama care is an essential one. It's my manifestation, my mantra these days. One is I do acupuncture every week, and I have for the last 12 years. Yes, that's going to somebody else, but I do feel like we need to have our other angels or other practitioners. So get the support you need. That is the thing that I would not turn on air conditioning to be able to go to acupuncture and kind of like rebuild and re-nourish and everything. Number 2 is I have an awesome heating lamp that has ultraviolet rays and everything. So I go and I will lay down on my belly and I put it right on my kidneys. So right at like where my butt kind of meets my lower back, and just replenish those kidneys. Because for me to go all the time, that's a time that I just sit there, make a cup of tea or whatever I feel like, or a green juice or anything. And I know that doesn't sound like something extreme, but I don't know many moms who even sit down for 30 minutes. So I will say to the hubby, I'm laying down, I'm getting the lamp. And that was given to me as a present like 9 years ago. And it's one of my favorite things. Number 3 is castor oil packs. I do think are amazing. I mean, I know it doesn't sound like relishing in something so divine, but I will tell my best friend, who is my hubby, I need my chica time. I need to go watch crappy TV, not think. And I sit there with my castor oil pack and I I have that on and I massage my feet with like oils and magnesium oil everywhere. And then I would say last but not least is just trying throughout the day, and this is I think something that will really resonate with everyone, even if you're in the middle of the kitchen cooking and you have kids screaming, or maybe something is going on, or you're so busy, it's like stopping for a minute. And I call it stop, drop, and roll. I will just stop and like bend down and just try to say one thing I'm so grateful for in my head, because it's so easy to get into complain mode or not grateful. And so often I will either have my phone right near me, so that I can put on a music that really like takes me to that place. So even just stopping and saying, I'm going to do 10 breaths. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's like just recharging for that minute and reminding myself that like here I'm a human going through experiences that I meant to go through. And even in the midst of what feels maybe hard, between running a business and being a mom and all this different stuff, I need to come back to my home, which is me.
Beautiful. I think, I do that in the morning too. My first son gets up at 6 because his bus comes at 6:50, and I get up and I make the lunch and the breakfast. And when the alarm goes off and I think, oh! The other voice, the second voice that goes off in my head is, 10 years from now, all my kids are gone from the house. So it brings in that minute of appreciation and I'm going to wish in 10 years that the alarm was going off at 6 and I could get up and make lunches. So just really being there to appreciate the moment, I think, is a nice thing. I think the other important thing that I'm going to throw in is, and this is an area I'm actually moving into because I've done it for so many years. I have been mentored and coached for so many years, and that's the only reason I've been able to achieve the things that I have, because I have surrounded myself with the most amazing teams, mentors, and coaches. So I'm giving back in the next year, actually starting in February, by becoming a high-level mentor for high-powered women who want to surround themselves with other women who want to change the world. Mm-hmm. So I would say surrounding yourselves with the most amazing people, always having superior coaches and mentors, and spoiling yourself. I mean, my favorite thing are massages and pedicures. And I found a green tea pedicure that I love. And so I do that whenever I can. And you know what? I'll throw this in. And taking care of your skin. I was a 4-time Accutane user with severe acne. And now I do things. I treat my skin with light, vibrational frequency. I use derma wands. I put the most beautiful oils on my skin. And it's made a difference. My skin looks very different now than it did 10, 20, 30 years ago. So as we age, just taking the little bit of extra time to nourish our skin as well. I think those are mine. That's all I can think of right now.
And
I'm
I
sure there's
think,
about 100 more.
I love what you said, and I think, I was thinking about this today. It's, especially as a woman, it's like figuring out what allows you to stay with your mojo. And, I even sat there and I was driving. I said to my husband actually today, I said, wow, I talked to like 2 like-minded women and it's only 11. And we had these awesome talks and I was so fired up. And I think that's what you were just saying. It's like, make sure you're talking to someone daily that gets you fired up. Find your community, laugh. Like, I think those simple things, and I keep going back to simple because it's so easy to forget that in busy life. And when we forget it, it's real easy to like step away from being grateful. And I know when I'm not being in gratitude, I'm being somewhere else that I have no business being.
Yeah. And what I'm constantly, and so are you, learners. I have a weekend coming up, a leadership weekend in Boston in December. I'm already planning a year from now, being at the Omega Center for a week in October. Constantly. I mean, the moment that I stop having this hunger for more knowledge, I don't know.
And it's also to be around like-minded people. I mean, I love the fact that you're calling this a retreat, like in January, because I know when I came back from detox school, it's like you're around people where you're all vibrating at such a high level. You're so excited. You're almost so excited you don't even want to sleep. You don't even require a lot because your body is so at peace. So I think that's when I would think of mama self-care or even self-care for anyone, it's like, what are the people that you need in your life that really make you happy? And I even said today, as I was having a conversation, what doesn't need to be in my life? I think that's the daily question so those 2 questions, and I said this to my husband, I was like, if it only took me almost 40 years to ask myself this question, but I see my kids asking these questions, then so be it. It's like, what needs to be in my life and what does not? And that needs to be a daily question.
And what does not, Rachel?
I feel like for me, I'm such a people pleaser, and I know setting clear boundaries and taking away things that are extraneous, whether it's, like whether it's saying commitments to things, and these are little things in my life, so what doesn't need to be there are things that are not good for me at that moment, saying, does this feel right? Listening, saying, does this food feel right? Do I need this? And that's what I was saying earlier about being in tune. And I think we're brought up in a culture, especially as women, where we're not told that it's okay to speak our voice.
Yeah.
So, I think the mama self-care is almost saying I've always said that when I birthed, a part of me died to give birth. And I think that's though for any woman, especially in this world. So it's like, how do I come home every day to my body? And if it's a face oil that makes me feel great, if it's a new moisturizer, if it's a pedicure, if it's going to acupuncture, whatever goes, oh man, that really freaking rocked I feel great. Like whatever it takes you to that, if it's a movie out with someone you really care about, rock it out. Because you could eat all the healthy food in the world, and if you're not like doing that stuff, you just remain blah.
Yeah. And I've downsized technology. Over the Thanksgiving holiday, I took 4 days off. And so that's why I asked you what you don't need, because I heard a statistic that we check our Facebook, email, phones 150 times a day. Do you know how many mental interruptions that is?
Yeah.
And I didn't know, actually I did it not out of choice. My computer was broken. And I felt so blissful after 4 days. So I'm really setting clear boundaries, checking on those things twice a day, not 150 times a day, and really, really being clear and mindful of those boundaries.
Well, and what's nice, and I have found this, is when I set boundaries in my life that are really powerful, And they're not huge, just powerful. I attract very powerful, like-minded people who come into my life. And so I think, the great thing about when you can do things like that is not only do you set an example, but it's like all of a sudden, you're attracting other people that are really in that blissful stage. So, mama self-care for me changes all the time, and it should. I think that's what you said about being a learner. It should. I hope it does. And when it's not, I'm really stuck. I need a chi machine.
Oh my gosh, you just opened up so many doors. I could go down, but I'm not going to. I'm going to save you for the Raw Food Institute retreat. So for those of you who are listening who want more of Rachel, I know I do. It's going to be January 4th through the 10th. Register now. I know we're over halfway full, and it will be a full retreat. So sign up now. Again, we're going to be talking all about natural detox. We're going to be getting hours and hours. And people think they're coming just for the raw food, but it's so much more than that. It's the raw food. It's the chef classes. It's the qigong. It's the yoga. It's the gong meditation. It's the vibration plates. It's the far infrared sessions that you get to do. It's the spa night. We really... when I was doing this, when I was creating these retreats, I said, I really want people to know when they leave how to make meals, how to make a green juice, how to make energy soup, how to make the wheatgrass, how to grow wheatgrass, how to sprout. But I also want them to leave with an experience that will change your life, and that's my goal. So we're bringing Rachel in to contribute that in a big way for this next one. Thank you, Rachel. That was an amazing talk, and I can't wait to see you in January.
I can't wait to see you and everyone else, and I just so blessed. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye, Rachel.
Bye, guys.